All right, diving into the 5 a.m. club today. You guys sent some awesome excerpts. Should be fun to unpack this one. Lots going on.
It is, yeah. It's pretty wild how Sharma uses this whole story, to get at these big ideas about like productivity, living a good life, all that. I mean, you start off with this speaker, the spellbinder,
Yeah.
and he just collapses on stage.
Talk about a way to grab your attention.
Right, like, whoa, what's going on here? And then you've got the entrepreneur, the artist, both kind of drawn to this guy who seems homeless at first, but then he's spouting all this wisdom, like rich people invest in time, not money, stuff like that, and how important your circle is, the people you hang out with.
Yeah, he's like a walking, talking self-help book. But then it gets even crazier.
Oh, yeah, because this homeless guy, he turns out to be a billionaire, Mr. Riley, like the guy who's figured it all out, time, energy, the whole deal.
That's a twist. So this Mr. Riley, he's the one who brings up this whole 5 a.m. club idea.
Yeah.
And okay, before we go any further, I gotta ask, waking up at 5 a.m., for most people that sounds insane. Have you ever tried messing around with your wake up time, like to see what it does to your day?
Oh, yeah. It's wild how much just like shifting your sleep a little bit can change your focus, your energy, all of that. And there's research on this. Early mornings, your brain's in a different state. They call it transient hypofrontality, something
Yeah.
like that. But basically, you can
Yep.
be more creative, think better.
So it's not even just about fewer distractions in the morning, it's our brains actually might work differently then. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay, but back to the story. So Mr. Riley, he whisks these two, the entrepreneur and the artist, off on this crazy adventure, ends up on his private island. And that's where they meet the spellbinder again, who turns out to be Mr. Riley's mentor.
Yeah, like talk about a power couple of mentors.
Yeah.
And on that island, that's where Mr. Riley really digs into the core stuff about the
Yeah.
5 a.m. club. And one of the first things he talks about is he calls it rigor.
Oh, yeah. And he had those examples, right? Like the Formula One pit crews.
Exactly.
How they're so precise. Every little detail matters. Every second.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he connects that to, success in general, not just racing, but life. Like always bringing your A game,
Yeah.
even to the smallest tasks.
Yeah. And he brings up Vermeer, the painter, known for like being super meticulous. His paintings have this glow to them. And Mr. Riley's point is Vermeer didn't just have talent, it was practice, years of it. That pursuit of like being excellent.
And it's interesting because he's not just saying work hard. It's more about this mindset, being present, paying attention, striving for like the best you can do with everything.
Totally. And that's where that micro wins idea comes in. Little improvements, but consistently add up to huge growth over time. Have you experienced that? Like maybe with working out or practicing something?
Oh, for sure. I think sometimes we get caught up in wanting these like massive changes, but it's those small things done regularly that make the real difference. And that's big, I think, from this part of the story. It's about like building that base for success, discipline, focus, striving for excellence.
Yeah, and that base, it's built on those four interior empires that we talked about earlier. The homeless man, well, Mr. Riley, as we know now, remember, mindset, heart set, health set, soul set.
Oh, right, right. It's not just about like getting things done. It's about like aligning your mind, your body, your spirit to have a life that feels good, has a purpose. That's what makes this 5 a.m. club thing so interesting, I think. It's not just a hack, it's a whole way of living.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we'll get into next, this 20-20-20 formula, the 10 extra tactics he talks about, and seeing how these two, the entrepreneur and the artist, how they actually use it all. All right, so we're back, and now it's time to get into the nitty-gritty of the 5 a.m. club, right? This 20-20-20 formula where the early morning magic really happens.
Yeah, okay. Again, what's that formula look like? I know it's about moving, reflecting, learning, but break it down for me.
It's simple when you think about it,
Yeah.
but super powerful. First hour of your day, 20 minutes each. First, you got move. Get that heart rate up, exercise, yoga, walk, whatever gets you energized.
So not like a full-on workout at the gym, but just intentionally moving for that time.
Exactly. Then it's reflect,
Hmm.
turning inward. Could be journaling, meditating, praying, just quiet time, really. Creating space to, look inside, set intentions.
And Mr. Riley, he's big on journaling, isn't he? A lot of people are, but I've never been able to stick with it.
Yeah, journaling, it's amazing for processing stuff, emotions, getting your thoughts clear. Mr. Riley even says to use it for tracking progress, celebrating wins, seeing where you can improve. And what's cool is there's actually like science backing this up now. How good journaling is for you mentally.
Hmm.
Less stress, more creativity, all that.
Huh. That's good to know. Maybe I should give it another shot. Okay, so what about the last 20 minutes?
That's grow. Time for, expanding your knowledge.
Yeah.
Reading, podcasts like us, online courses, anything that makes you think, helps you learn new stuff.
So the whole formula, it's like this recipe, right? Get your body going, then connect with yourself, then feed your mind.
And what's great is it hits every part of you. Physical, mental, intellectual. It's a whole person way to start your day with purpose.
But Mr. Riley doesn't stop there. He gives us those 10 extra tactics, right? For like being more productive, living a good life. Everything from creating a space where you can focus to having the right people around you.
Yeah. The tight bubble of total focus. That one really stood out to me. It's about like having this space totally free from distractions so you can get deep into your work.
He takes it pretty far though, like selling your TV, limiting news, all that sounds extreme. But I can see how it would help. I mean, how often do we get pulled away from what we're doing? Notifications, emails, just the constant information overload.
It's true. These days, protecting your attention, that's huge. Being intentional with your time, your energy, creating boundaries so you can work on what matters.
Oh, and that 90901 rule, that one's all about like laser focus on one task, right?
Exactly. For 90 days straight, first 90 minutes of your workday, you hit the one thing that'll make the biggest difference. In your work, your life, whatever.
It's smart, right? Breaking down a big goal into smaller chunks and making sure you make progress every day. Of course, the hard part is figuring out what that one task is and then actually staying focused for those 90 minutes.
He does give some advice, though, like physically separating yourself from distractions, setting boundaries with people at work, even visual reminders to keep you on track.
Right, right. Setting yourself up to actually succeed.
Yeah, creating an environment that supports that commitment to focused work.
He also talks about working with our natural energy cycles, right? Like we have peaks and valleys throughout the day, that 60-10 method.
Exactly. It's simple, but it works. 60 minutes of focused work, then a 10-minute break. Like intervals, but for your brain.
And that ties back into that rigor idea, right? It's not about burning yourself out. It's about like working smarter.
Yeah, exactly. And those breaks, they're not for scrolling through your phone. They're for really disconnecting, going for a walk, music, meditation, even just closing your eyes, taking deep breaths.
So we've got focus, prioritizing energy. What else does Mr. Riley throw at us?
One of the best, and maybe most people don't realize this, but the Daily 5 concept.
Yeah.
So simple, but it can really change your mindset. You just take a little time each day to celebrate 5 wins. Doesn't matter how small they seem.
Oh yeah, like shifting your attention to what's going right, being grateful. It's like the opposite of how our brains naturally focus on the negative.
And it can actually, like, rewire your brain to be more positive.
Yeah.
Boost your motivation, help you keep moving towards your goals.
It's a good reminder that success isn't just about the big stuff. It's about those little victories too. And speaking of celebrating, Mr. Riley talks a lot about having that dream team, right? The people who support you, inspire you, push you to be better.
Oh yeah, that's so important. The people we spend time with, they have a huge influence on us. Having a group of positive, growth-minded people, it can make all the difference. He even says, your tribe determines your vibe.
I love that. It's like a reminder to be picky about who you let in and to spend time with people who reflect the kind of life you want.
And he gives some good tips on how to find those people, figuring out your values, seeking out people who live by those values.
So we've got focus, priorities, energy, mindset, community, anything else.
Oh, he also talks about this visualization technique, the 10 by 10 exercise. You basically picture your ideal life 10 years from now, super vividly, and then write down 10 goals that'll get you there. Harnessing the power of your imagination to create a future that draws you in.
That's awesome. Getting clear on what you want, aligning your actions with that vision. I've done something similar before, and it's amazing how powerful it can be, like creating a roadmap for your life.
And he says to look back at that exercise regularly, keeping those goals in mind, adjusting them if you need to, staying connected to that vision.
Okay, so we've got a lot here. The formula, those tactics, and this whole philosophy of the 4 interior empires. It's almost overwhelming.
I know, it can be a lot,
Yeah.
but it's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about finding what clicks with you, trying things out, creating your own approach to productivity, personal growth.
That's a good point. It's about finding your own way.
Yeah, that's what I like about Sharma's approach. It's not just rules. It's like a way of thinking about your life, creating a plan that fits you.
And he knows it's not always easy. He talks about the struggles of building habits, the importance of rest, being careful about who you let into your life.
It's not a quick fix. It's a path to real growth, you know, long-term fulfillment.
Oh, and remember that trip they take to South Africa? To those vineyards? It
Yeah.
seemed random at first, but it was like this reminder to slow down, appreciate the simple things, enjoy the journey.
Yeah, it was a good balance to the intensity of the 5 a.m. stuff, showing you got to take care of your soul too, not just your mind and body.
And he says something like, to create magic in the world, own the magic within yourself. I love that. Like what's inside of us shows up in our lives in how we impact the world. Being in awe, being joyful, being grateful.
And he says to protect that inner magic, be careful who you let in. Avoid those bad people, the ones who drain you, bring you down.
Yeah, raising your standards,
Yeah.
seeking out experiences that feed your soul, creating a life that's true to you, not just what you're supposed to do.
And that leads us to the last part of their journey, Robben Island. That's where Nelson Mandela was imprisoned. That's where it all comes together for them, the entrepreneur and the artist. Their last lesson from the spellbinder.
Oh, wow. Okay. This is where it all comes full circle.
Exactly.
All right. So last part of our deep dive here. Robben Island. Powerful place for this final chapter for the entrepreneur and the artist.
Yeah, it really is. Robben Island, I mean, that's where Mandela was imprisoned, right? It becomes this symbol of overcoming, of getting through tough stuff. Makes you think about how, sometimes real change comes from facing these huge challenges.
And remember, the billionaire said something like, we all have our Robben Islands. What do you think he meant by that?
He's saying we all have our own struggles, right?
Yeah.
Things holding us back. Could be fear, self-doubt, stuff from the past, or even just those negative thoughts we get stuck in.
So not just physical limitations, but things inside us that keep us from living our best lives.
Right. And at Robben Island, they're hearing stories of people who went through, just terrible things. Mandela's resilience, how he led, how he forgave. Even after all that, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I remember the artist was really moved by it all, seeing how strong the human spirit can be, not just surviving, but actually thriving, even in the darkest times.
It's true. We all have that in us, that resilience. We can let our challenges break us, or we can use them to grow, to become stronger.
And then there's that part where the billionaire talks about Mandela's biggest regret, not being able to be at his son's funeral while he was in prison. It makes Mandela seem, more human.
Yeah, it shows that even people who achieve incredible things, they still experience pain, loss. It makes you think about, cherishing your loved ones, making the most of every day.
And that image of Mandela walking to freedom, he could have gotten a ride, but he chose to walk, like a symbol of his strength.
Yeah, it's powerful, right?
Yeah.
Choosing to step into your own freedom, no matter what you've been through. And that's when the spellbinder shows up again. He connects that walking to freedom with personal growth. Says all great leaders, they've faced their own Robben Islands, their own dark times.
Like, our struggles, they're not there to break us, but to shape us, to show us what we're really capable of.
Exactly. And he gives them his last lesson. This model he calls the heroic human circle. It's about the qualities you need to live a life of service, to make a real difference in the world. Honesty, bravery, kindness, love, putting those into action every day.
It's beautiful what it really means to be a good person, not some perfect ideal, but just, showing up with integrity, compassion, trying to make things better.
And as they're reflecting on their journey, the entrepreneur, the artist, they realize they're already doing some of this. The entrepreneur, she's less afraid, more courageous, more determined. And the artist, seeing all this resilience, creativity, he wants to use his art to inspire people.
It shows how personal growth isn't just about learning stuff. It's about actually changing inside and out.
Yeah. And as they leave Robben Island, the spellbinder, he leaves them with this question. It's a powerful one. He asks, what personal Robben Islands are holding you back? What can you do today to break free, to really reach your full potential?
It's a question that makes you think even after the story's over, makes you look at your own life. What's holding you back?
Yeah.
And what are you going to do about it? We all have that potential for greatness, but we have to choose to step into it.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the 5 a.m. Club, I hope you're feeling, a sense of what's possible. It's not just about waking up early. It's about creating a life with purpose, with meaning. It's about that inner work, seeing challenges as opportunities, using your talents to make a difference.
It's been great exploring all this with you. And even if you're not, going to become a 5 a.m. Club member, there's so much in this book that can help anyone. If you want to be more productive, Tap into your potential. Live a better life.
Yeah, start small, try things out, see what works for you, and remember, like they say, even the longest journey starts with a single step. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the 5 a.m. Club.